So I know what you might be thinking. I forgot to include Seele in the last video, the video where we went over all the characters upcoming in 1.4 and the characters after that patch. And the characters who you should pull in that video did not include Seele, but today's video we'll be talking about Seele, all of her team comps you can potentially use the character, and whether or not I think she is a character you should spin your jades on in 2023. But anyways, let's get into the video. Now, for most of you that don't know, Seele is a character that I go way back with since the beginning of the game. I was re-rolling like crazy for her. I mean, most people were. She was one of the best. Well, she was the best damage dealer in the game at that point, and pretty much the best 5-star. But we didn't really have much to go off of at the time because she was the only limited character in the game at that point. But she has held up relatively well. She still is at the top of the tier list. She definitely isn't as high as she used to be because other characters have unfortunately power crept her, but she still is a very strong single target, still the best single target damage dealer in the game. Now, when it comes to teams for Seele, you obviously want to use characters that enhance the performance of her, and Mono Quantum is the definition of a team that makes it to where Seele's performance is enhanced and takes advantage of one of the best offensive supporting debuffers in the game, which is Silverwolf. Now, Mono Quantum is a turn your brain off type of team composition you can use with Seele. I have QQ in the team, but if you don't have Eidolons for your QQ, you probably will find your best interest to use characters like Lynx and Fushuan. Lynx until we get a Harmony Quantum character, that is, and once we do get that character, then you would replace Lynx in the team comp with that Harmony character. But until then, you would use this team for Mono Quantum, and it is very, very strong. It's very easy to use. Silverwolf has a 100% chance of putting that quantum weakness on the enemy, regardless of the elements that enemy has. And it is a very free-to-play friendly composition because every character here can use the same relic set, which saves you tons. I cannot express this enough. We made a whole video on the relics, right, in Honkai Star Rail. It saves you so much farming. Genius of Brilliant Stars is the best relic set in the game. It still is the best relic set in the game, and I don't see this set being power crept anytime soon, because ignoring defense puts it leagues above every other relic set in the game. If you have crit damage as your 4-piece bonus, if you have crew rate as your 4-piece bonus, it is outclassed simply because ignoring defense scales way harder depending on the level of the enemy, because those enemies have a lot more defenses. And then the quantum damage bonus is going to be top tier for every single quantum character in the game. So the truth is, I've spent all my resin here, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon, because you can use this set on every character in the game virtually that wants to do damage, and you can use the Guard of Withering Snow on every single Harmony, every single debuffing supporter character, every character that wants to act as a support, because it is a very solid option to have on those characters. Now, a very famous team that most people use with Seele is going to be Hyper Carry, but this is a different type of Hyper Carry because you utilize Silverwolf. If you do not have Silverwolf, then you can use another character, which will show in just a second, but you take advantage of being able to lower the defenses with Silverwolf. You have Luocha, who is your skill point positive healer. You can use any healer in the place of Luocha. I just have him here because he is my best healer on this account. You can use Fushuan, who of course will be better in the team like this, in my honest opinion, because of the crit rate, turning all of your characters into pseudo tanks, being able to give CC resist, which is very, very valuable. It stops CC from hitting your allies right at that given point. And she gives tons of damage mitigation as well. So she makes it to where your characters don't get one shot. But if you don't have Fushuan and you don't have Luocha, you can pretty much use any healer in the game. Bailu is still very solid here in this team comp. Depending on what Huo does, and once we figure out what her kit is, she may be the best in slot in this Hyper Carry team. Now, we'll have to, of course, wait and see for what her kit entails, but I'm leaning on her being the best in slot character for this team comp. But of course, we'll wait and see. Third team here is going to be a full supporter team. This is a team you would use if you're trying to zero cycle Memories of Chaos or any hard content in the game where you really don't need any healers. Maybe your Seele is the best investment you have on your account, and you want to make it to where you can clear memory chaos as fast as you can, you use a team like this. You have your double harmony setup, maybe even triple harmony, and you have a character like Silverwolf or Pela to lower the defenses of the enemy. This is a very popular team for most players at in-game, I would say. Now, another team I also have found myself using is a team like this. You can use Clara with Seele, and these two characters work really well together. The truth is, you can use any other character that is a pseudo-tank like Clara, like Blade for instance, maybe even Arlen potentially. He's kind of a little wonky right now, but you can use other characters that are skill point positive alongside Seele, as long as, like I said, they're skill point positive. You don't want that damage dealer to drain skill points from Seele because she needs all the skill points she can get, because she'll probably use her elemental skill every single turn. The reason why this works is you have your Clara and your Bronya together, which have the two highest taunt values in the team comp, so most of the time Clara will be getting hit, and if the enemy has adjacent damage hitting with his skill, then Bronya will get hit, and then Clara will be getting hit with the adjacent damage and still counterattack the enemy. So this is a very safe setup as long as you have Clara next to your Bronya or any other Harmony character. This is a double Quantum and double Imaginary team comp you can use. It does utilize Luocha. If you don't have Luocha, then you can't use this team comp, unfortunately. And Welt is a character you can use. If you don't have Welt, you can use Yukong. Yukong will work pretty well here, I would say, as a Harmony character. This is still considered a hyper carry team composition because Welt is an offensive supporting debuffer character, but it is a fairly nice team. Not as good as a team with Bronya, of course, but it's still a very fun team nonetheless. I love using Welt. And last but not least, this is going to be as free-to-play as you can get. You have Natasha, who you get for free. You have Pela, who you can potentially get for free next patch. And you have Ting Yun, a character that most, if not every single player right now has on their account. A team like this is pretty much what every single free-to-play player uses with their Seele, and it works really well. You'll be able to clear Memories of Chaos with 3 stars as long as you have decent investment into your Seele course. Make sure she has good relics. And then every other character here has a tanky relic setup to where they don't get one-shot or deleted by the enemy. And then Natasha here, of course, is the one with the cleanse. So when all things fail, you have a character that can cleanse your hyper carry. So this is a fairly good team overall. Not the best, but it gets the job done. Now, if you don't plan on pulling for Seele, I would suggest you pull for her Lightcone because she still has the best hunt Lightcone in the game. This Lightcone increases the damage for most hunt characters in the game right now, aside from Topaz, who we'll go over in a different video. But this Lightcone makes it to where you'll have tons of more crit rate, you'll have a lot of more attack and elemental skill damage, which is very, very good, and you'll have more ultimate crit damage, which stacks up really high and makes for massive hitting numbers. This Lightcone is extremely overloaded, and I mean, considering it was the first Lightcone we got, Limited Lightcone in Honkai Star Rail, it makes sense as to why it is absolutely bonkers. Sleep Like a Dead is a very solid Lightcone to use on Seele, so if you have a copy of this, I suggest you using it on this character, because I use this on my free-to-play account with Seele. She has a Sleep Like a Dead Refinement 2, I believe, and it works really well on her. You get a ton of crit damage, you get a crit rate increase, assuming you have around a decent amount of crit rate and you don't land a single crit hit on your elemental skill, which can happen. You'll get the crit rate increase, which is very, very good when you want to use your ultimate after you use your elemental skill to ensure that your ult will crit on the enemy. On top of that, Seele can reset the passive relatively quickly because of how fast she goes in her resurgence, so this is a very solid 5-star Lightcone to use on the character. I can safely recommend Sourceplay if you have godly stats on your Seele. I'm talking tons of crit rate. If you have around 60 to 70 crit rate on your Seele, 70 to be safe, 70 to 80 crit rate, and you have a lot of crit damage, then considering Swordplay putting this on your Seele, because this will generally increase her damage dealt, which counts as quantum damage for the character, by a great amount. If you have this at Refinement 5, you're looking at about a 80% damage increase, which is really, really good when you reach max stacks. Now, do keep in mind the stacks does go away when you change targets, but one of the things to take into consideration is that because Seele has multi-hits on her elemental skill, you're going to stack this passive relatively quickly. Most free-to-play players are using Cruising in a Stellar Sea, which is a very solid 4.5-star Lightcone to use on the character. You get a ton of crit rate, and you increase your attack percent, which is very valuable. Seele utilizes Lightcone more so than other hunt characters, because whenever she kills an enemy, she gets a reset, which allows her to take another turn, do additional damage, and get that attack percent bonus as soon as she kills the enemy. This is a very, very, very strong light cone to use on your Seele. Now, considering that Topaz is going to be arriving at the same time around Seele having her rerun banner, you may consider going for Topaz's light cone depending on what it does. Maybe it ends up being better than Seele's light cone. I don't see that happening because her light cone, Seele's light cone, is absolutely broken. I'm sure Topaz's light cone will probably enhance Topaz more so than it would Seele. But if you happen to go for the character Topaz and you get 2 copies, it may not be a bad choice to include on your Seele. We'll have to wait and see what that light cone entails. These are the ideal stats you want to strive for: 70% crit rate or higher, and then at least 200 plus crit damage is the best stopping point for Seele. At this point, you can stop farming for the character and farm for other damage dealers you have on your account. Speed, of course, is very valuable if you do have her 5-star limited light cone because you enhance the passive of that light cone for Seele, and then having a ton of attack matters on this character because she is very good in hyper carry team compositions. So there you have it. I'm going to have a ton of gameplay footage in this video to show you exactly what Seele can do from a E0 playstyle to an E6 even. Now, the E6 playstyle for Seele is drastically different from the E0 version of this character. Please do keep in mind, she gets a ton of resets because she'll be attacking more often. She'll do a lot more damage with the enhancements towards her elemental skill and ultimate. And her E6 allows her to do more damage to the enemy whenever allies hits that enemy. So it's very valuable for the character. And on top of that, she does get energy whenever she does kill an enemy. So you're going to have faster cycles with her ultimate anyways. And if you have a character like Ting Yun, you're going to get ult nearly every single turn. It gets really crazy. But that's going to be the video here. Should you roll for Seele in the second half of 2023? In my honest opinion, yes, because she is a part of the quantum element, which is an extremely rare element right now in Honkai Star Rail. I don't see us getting another quantum damage dealer anytime soon. And if we do, they're probably not going to be a 5-star. They probably will be a 4-star character. So until then, I could say she is a safe bet for your account. I'll go as far as to say if out of all the characters we have coming in 1.4, I would feel more safe going for Seele than going for the other characters, because as of right now, Mono Quantum is extremely strong. And when characters that are of the Harmony path that also have the quantum element shows up, that team is going to be absolutely broken. Thank you for watching and have a nice rest of your day. Peace.